Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest and another episode of Search for Fairies with me. Today we are in Cleve Park, and this picture was taken May 8th of 2020, and it is photo number 9016. It has not been gone through yet. There's a lot of them for Cleve that have not been gone through yet, so that is what we are going to do today, is go through this photograph and see if we can find any fairies within it. This is at 100%. We are going up to 200 because that is the easiest way to see. Sometimes it gets a little pixelated, but we'll work with that. And starting in the left corner here, now remember, we're either going to find fairies or we're not. And no shame in not finding them sometimes in a new location. And back in May, Cleve was a new location. The fairies had not seen me there before with a camera, so they may have just preferred to hide. So we will see. I think I do see a little guy. Just going to keep on going a little bit and see who else might be hiding away or blending in. We've had some pretty good blenders as time goes by. Now it's just a matter of going through, and I know this might be a little faster than you're able to look at the photograph, but I am used to doing this and certain things stick out to me. But as you know, I go through the photographs more than one time. And of course, before I end this video, I will also be going through it again because for some reason on video, I sometimes tend to miss the fairies. I don't know if that's because I am a little nervous about looking for them on camera kind of thing. But I'm going to go back to the beginning here because I think I did see a little guy. And I saw him right here. So I'm going to take that down to 100% and crop him. And then make him a little bit larger to see if I can get it so you can see him. Okay, so that's enlarging by 100. We're going to go up one more time. Don't like to do that, but for you. Okay. He looks a lot different when he's enlarged like this, but we have a hand right here. The arm goes up here. His head is right here. We have black fuzzy hair. There's an eye here, an eye here. The nose is here. And I do believe this is another hand kind of lifting up this one little piece of grass, maybe that is stick. I can't really tell. Anyway, he's kind of hard to see for others, but we'll mark him anyway. So I'm going to take this back down. Get the original photograph back, go back over, and we're going to mark him. Now normally I would take a crop of him, but I will do that at a later date. Okay. And I prefer red. Okay, so there he is. So then let's enlarge our picture again and keep on going. That's all that I really saw going across the first tier of this picture. So we're going to find a place to move up, a spot that allows us to, such as like right here, that little light spot, we can move up to that, just a titch above it. All right, so now we'll go through the second tier of this photograph and see if we can find any fairies in the second portion. Now there are parts and pieces that do kind of give me the sense that there might be a fairy there, but if I can't really define it myself, I know it's going to be hard for you guys to be able to see it. So I just kind of let them go by. Sometimes if I'm doing photos by myself, I may crop those for myself. Go back and look at them later to see if they were worth actually looking at. Now this park isn't really all that big. It's a horseshoe shape that we are looking at right now. And on the outside of the horseshoe shape are a lot of growth like this. And on the inside of the horseshoe shape, there's more like prairie grass. So it is a man-made area. Okay, now I see this little guy right here, and I have to make sure that I know where he's at before I shrink it down. All right, so he would be right there. Let me crop him and see what we can see. I'm going to take it up 100. Maybe a little bit more. Oh, see, that makes it very, very hard. But I will show you what I'm seeing to the best of my ability. I do believe this is a little fairy, but okay, so here's a mouth. He's a happy little guy. And a nose, and an eye, and an eye. He's wearing a hat, and we can kind of see an arm. And anyway, here he is. He has blended himself amazingly well. So he's very, very hard to see when he's enlarged, and he must be quite small. Otherwise, it wouldn't be this difficult to see him as we enlarge him. So I think for that one, we're just going to let it, we're not going to mark him. I can see him right here, but he is so small. So we're going to take this back up to 200. See, there he is, right there. Looks like a happy little guy. All right, so I'm going to go down here to the bottom again. We need to get back to that second tier. Using the spot we chose, which is right here. So we'll go just a little bit above that. And going one more time through this second tier. You'll find that the further away, like back here, the harder fairies are to see because it's further away. However, we do sometimes get some larger fairies that really do stand out back there in the more distant leaves. All right, so we're going to check out the third tier. We might come back to the second because I may have seen something. All right, so we're going to go just a bit by that right there. And as always, don't skip the upper portion of the picture because you think it's too high up. Amazingly, a lot of times the fairies like to, I don't know, do branch walking. Kind of like tightrope walking for us. They're pretty brave. And they seem pretty sure-footed, actually. At least some of them that I have come across. Well, this photo is not yielding a lot of fairies today. And that happens sometimes. I will go through it again without being on video, and if there's anything else or anyone that we missed, you'll be able to see that at the end of the video. But it's not looking very promising. One of these days we'll find a photograph that we're just going to be circling fairies like crazy. And that does happen where there's maybe 26, 30 all in one photo. It's kind of crazy that it works that way. All right, so this time around, it looks like, at least first glance, this is the only guy that we have that we can actually see. And as long as I keep it up at 200%, you should be able to see him fairly well with his arm and his little head. And now that I look at it this way, I think his arm is here. This is not his hand. I think his other arm is here. But we can at least see an ear, an eye, a nose, shape of his head, one arm, the other arm, and a little bit of the body. So I thank you for joining, and perhaps the next episode will yield a lot more fairies for us. Take care.